there is no denial that there's been a low participation on Planthro, and ET had suggested this mid-year review, and we are doing that. And I take this as an opportunity to kind of renew our commitment, or alternatively also update our status if required. So what we can do is, as a structure of the chat, we can go through first the people and their updates, and then programs and their updates, and that's about it. So that we can aim for 30 minutes or so. Right. Right.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So I
Sounds
can I
good.
can begin with myself. There's been some bit of distraction and some bit of kind of low involvement phase here by me, but like I said, I take this as an opportunity to kind of renew my commitment. I see no hurdles in putting in more time and effort, some on the various agendas. Um, I will go, I'll take up my part of, the descriptions, detailed descriptions. So this was just personally. Uh, I mean, when we speak about the programs, I know update you more. We had, but I've been in touch with people, except I think I haven't spoken much with Masi and Vasavi in last few days. But otherwise, there is no disconnect, and we've been able to send the newsletter and everything. Yeah, going forward, I think in the coming 6 months of this remaining 6 months of this year, I can kind of mobilize the agenda, which is already clear to us. I've been collecting things, not letting go of, let's say, either references or people or information. I've been collecting it orderly, but I think it's also the time we can kind of update and status of each, as well as process. Recently spoke with Madhura. I'm not committing, and I'm not speaking on her behalf, but I'll just stop short in the sense that we thought we'll mobilize a few things on the affiliations front, and I'm excited if if it moves, I'll follow her lead into doing that too. Yeah. So that's it from my side. Maybe Andrea, you can
Um,
you can update us
Sorry,
next.
Amit, if I can jump in,
Yeah.
could you just elaborate on the affiliation side? What were your discussions? Because
So yeah,
thanks.
I'll just stop short where Madhura can fill in later. But there are a few organizations, like you remember we had submitted an application to World Alliance, and with help of Prerna Singh, who is not here, but as well as we've collected some good bunch of references where we should be applying for affiliations, and as well as memberships, as well as funding opportunities, as well as general as a subject matter expert also, or as a reference library. So there are plenty of places we have identified. I would tend to think something like 20 odd places where we can send in an application, as or just our submission, and it varies from all the way, like serious funding opportunities, to just being, let's say, cataloged in other people's systems. So there are all hierarchies, and like I said, we should be doing this as a continuous exercise. We've not been doing it, but I've been just collecting the reference. So in the coming days, I'm saying that we can kind of execute each of them one by one also. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Do you would it be okay if you shared those lists of potential affiliations or organizations with us?
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, I will I will send, again send the links, but they're all on the dashboard that we had created. So don't worry, I'll point you to them. Yeah, and they're all there. Yes. Right. Andrea, would you like
Yes,
to fill us in?
yes, please. So, I mean, just following from what Amit said about the fact that we've been working at low speed or low regime over the past year, for in my case, because of other commitments with a new job, which doesn't mean we haven't done any progress or thinking about progress. The way I mean, one possibility, one suggestion, something that I've evoked before with Amit is that I think we have a good architecture in terms of the architecture, a corporate architecture, and an architecture of ideas and programs that we have. Some of them progressing, Biblio, outreach, others progressing more slowly or altogether in a standby. But still, I think the architecture is solid, and I think the newsletter is a good touchdown we have every 3 months. So it's a quarterly with a strong architecture. Is a single page, but it forces us every 3 months to think again about what have we done, where is progress, where is not progress, and I find it very useful to. So I think we should maintain that. Maybe with a bit more advanced than last time. Last time we really resolved at midnight on the very day. But I think it's a good way of knowing where we are, where we go, and I think it may be useful at some point. Maybe today is not we're not prepared for doing that, but now we are about 3 years into planthro being registered. Am I correct, Amit? 2, 3 years.
3 years, yes.
3 years. So maybe should we make a point in terms of figures and make a comparison where we were, where we are in that sense over the past 3 years. So this is just an introduction of about I mean where I see we are and what I think is useful to keep doing. And what I've been doing in the meanwhile, and this is more at the informal level, but what I'm trying to do is to have planthro, our webpage, our project, land on desktops, on desks around the world. So, and this is making it possibly more visible. I mean, it's still very minor movements, but planthro has got to National Geographic, for example, to the desk of the director of climate change programs there at the National Geographic Foundation. Has got to the desk of 2 major museums, the directors of 2 major museums in Geneva, both of them working on exhibitions on the Anthropocene over the next couple of years. So it doesn't make a huge impact in terms of views that we get, but some people in the decision positions are at least consulting what we've done, what we're doing, and they use it as a reference, which I think was one of the aims of the effort at the beginning. So now I don't know how far this is going to go in terms of impact, but I think it's again in the same line as getting affiliations is again getting this visibility out. I think the volume, the solidity of what we're producing is improving. Another point where I'm quite happy is where I'm working now. So now I'm working at a foundation that sponsor projects on the protection of cultural heritage affected by conflict around the world. But we, the director, has expressed the wish to start a new program on heritage that is threatened not only by conflict but also by climate change. And again, I mean, this is only just starting, but is again another direction where I think all we have done so far with planthro can bring a contribution and vice versa. So this is from my side, and of course, planthro Biblio has been going on with very little input from my side, and I'm quite happy about that. That some of our same for outreach. I mean, I'm very happy to see these projects, these activities, these actions living their own independently, their own trajectory.
Right. Thanks. Yeah. Let's move to Massimiliano before, and let's not. Let's bring him into the conversation. He speaks the least among us usually.
Yeah, I haven't really talked to you guys much in the last few months, but so I haven't really given much contribution, I have to say. But I'm happy to see how things seems to be, like Andrea said, going on almost independently with the little effort from from manual inputs. I think that the low volume that we have at the moment, it might not be. Maybe I should turn on the camera. The little volume that we might be experiencing at the moment shouldn't be really too worrying. I think in a way, I'm confident that the more volume will come in the next future, especially due to the last happenings around the world, and people will probably, politicians and all parties, all kind of parties, will realize how important it is to give more focus on the impact the humans have on the planet. So I think the Anthropocene, I've seen it quoted so much more than before the COVID. I think there is a definite shift nowadays on this view of humans as a real, like a tangible change in the planet, and how in fact we should try to limit the footprint that we have on it. So I think that even the time where we came into being, the time that planthro was built, was actually the right time. We came probably in the right moment, and when everybody's actually starting to understand these issues and giving them much more importance than in the past. So I think with time, we will see things improving very fast and having much more volume on our side. And I'm prepared, to give more more contribution that I've done in the last few months, for sure.
Right. Thanks. Yeah. Now there are some good news that I will share when we move to the program side. So there is no doubt there are some things which are moving well. And yeah, thanks for the offer of further cooperation. Uh, Vasavi, would you like to fill us in on personal as well as anything you would like to add to the program's direction?
Well, yeah, I want to say a couple of things, just comments really. On the personal front, well, not much. We've been in lockdown Mumbai. It's not so lockdown, but continue to be, in the confines of our homes as much as possible. But apart from that, on the planthro side, I have been thinking for the past few days that 3 years ago, when we started planthro, we had a sort of a vision, of where it should be. And I think it'll be a good time for us 3 years hence to kind of take a stock check as to where we are. How much of that vision are we closer to or not closer to, and why? If not, why not? I think somewhat of a stock check would be. This is a good point to do that, and if we can't get to closer to that vision, maybe we want to pivot a bit and maybe change the direction and see what is achievable, given that we all have full-time jobs and doing other things, and the amount of time we are all able to spend on this. Obviously, there's only so much we can grow it and grow the vision. So then maybe we take a stock check and say, well, these are the things we want to do, and change the direction or not. I don't know. I'm just saying maybe it's a good idea to sort of review where we were, where we want to be, and where we are.
Right. Right.
That's all
Yeah.
I wanted to say.
Yeah. Now, this is in line with what Andrea said. We can create a comparison of before and now. And what you're saying is that there may be some altogether different directions or changes that we may identify. Yeah. So I'll take a lead on that, and we'll do this exercise like in with your participation in the coming days, where we'll comment on like prepare a list of the original programs and visions, and look at current realities. And to be honest, I don't see too many misalignments from our original, but yeah, some I think emphasis
I think there's a shift in emphasis on what programs are going forward and versus what are not going forward. There's a slight change of emphasis, I do think, from what I remember 3 years ago to now. So maybe it would be a good time to kind of evaluate.
Yeah, I think from my side, the timing is great. July, August would be mid-July to end of August for me is a good time. There's a bit less pressure on my other job, so it would be good if we could do that. I mean, over the next 6 to 12 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. Sorry.
Yeah.
In terms of, I think when I was talking about the architecture of planthro and the different programs, I still see it as an architecture of interdependent projects. I don't think, I mean, of course, each of them is meant to be a standalone. And in that sense, I agree with Wasabi. We can change direction. We can modify the pace. We can eliminate some of the programs. We can put them in, freeze them as they have been. The most ambitious, but I think there is an interrelationship there in terms that we started by building an identity, planthro's identity. I think Biblio is doing that together with outreach. So outreach is step 2 in a sense, because the first you want to have a product, show that you can do something, that you have some degree of knowledge that you can share on the subject. Outreach is making people aware of that tool you have prepared and of that knowledge of the existence of planthro and what we're doing. And of course, there is in this timeline, which has been slowed down, there is, once you have an initial product, potential users of that product, then you look for funds and ways to grow that in a sustainable way. And I think this is where we are. We have been for a while now, and where there is some kind of locking and something to unlock. And this is why where I've been putting most efforts in trying to make planthro visible to institutions that have this potential of saying, okay, we adopt planthro, we want to come in and make it grow and contribute to make it grow. So and then of course, I mean, the next steps, so planthro Institute, for example, to take the most ambitious, the most expensive of the original programs, of course, can't be done before that. So again, I think we can change direction, but there is a logic of interlocked activities, interlocked programs within planthro that I think is still coherent.
Right. No, we did some of this at the beginning of the year meeting, where we said, okay, let's focus our available time and energies, and in that sense, we decided that we'll not even talk about exchange and events this year, right?
Exactly.
And I think that has helped somewhat. I think it also once you focus, you realistically, with realistic amount of available energies, it's also doesn't leave you with a certain amount of guilt, or the sentiment also stays up, like on Biblio, when I give you updates, and now Prerna is here, so she should then you will know that that focus has helped. But before that, let me move to Madhura and ask her to fill us in on personal as well as what she thinks about how we are going.
Hi everyone. So on the personal is related to planthro, because there is a lot of time has been freed up, because there is absolutely no outdoors happening and absolutely zero traveling happening. So that's why I have committed a few more hours a week, to Amit. Actually, I have been completely out of touch in the past almost 1.5 years. Other than what was happening, and I was reading on WhatsApp. There was very little, almost no contribution from my side. But I think now I will be able to spare more time going forward. At least till this situation, I don't see it changing till the next year. So there will be more time on hand, and I want to sort of contribute, allocate that time to planthro. So I have done the initial discussion with Amit, and I will be able to spare consistently spare time. So I will be in touch with Amit and Vasavi, you also, because he's talking of some applications that you had done in the past, and now that we are in the similar time zone, it will be easier to coordinate. So
Sure.
hopefully something else.
Yeah, so specifically with with Madhura, we are looking at taking the looking outside the window at the outer world, and kind of making connection with those, taking all her extra available time into reaching out to institutions. So, and I think we have a starting point in the applications that we have already filled. So there's plenty of good write-ups that we have we've compiled. So we'll make use of that, and we'll be in touch with all of you to either review or might need your help as well.
There is also, if I may, there is also a more informal way of doing that, which we have discussed with Prerna recently, and is which I've been using again at my other job. So we've recently created a reference webpage very similar to Biblio, planthro Biblio, but it's more specific to e-learning for heritage, for the heritage sector. So we're doing exactly the same, extracting a selection of resources from the web and putting it all together in a single reference web page that then our operators will come and use. So it's the same idea. And one thing we've been doing systematically there was to write every time an email. Every time we post something, we write an email to the owner of that material. And this gives a lot of visibility with a simple email. And this is something we'll be discussing with Prerna over the past month, and we are planning to introduce that systematically on Biblio, so that every time, well, first of all, revise what we have published so far, and this may be also a starting point for Madhura and Vasavi. And so the idea is to take every and each opportunity to let people know what we're doing, starting from those that are benefiting the most from our action, who are the people, the original creators of the content we post.
Andrea, I just have a question for you. When you say you reference other authors' material, do you mean material that can be read online, that's fully accessible online?
It's all accessible. What we publish, what we republish, are links to original material. They may be MOOCs, they may be scientific papers, they may be documentaries, or simply bios or links to institutions. And what we haven't done so far, but what we want to do more systematically, is every time we post something, write an email to the contact email, or to the person, to the first author of an article, to the institutions that is the owner of a MOOC, and tell them, look, we have, we like your product. We think it is useful for understanding human-environment interaction. We're posting it on planthro, which we knew is legally fine, and they will know. They will use it, and they may repost.
What is the general response? Is it positive, or?
What I've done with Alif in my other job is very enthusiastic. People are more than willing to share. They're very happy. And I've had good responses from UN agencies, from universities, from platforms like Coursera. So I haven't had a single negative response so far. People is always very willing to and to contribute and give you more. I mean,
nice.
Everything lies on the message we send out. It needs to be a very nice wrapped up message saying, what you do is exceptional, is wonderful, and we want people to know about what you're doing. That's the
Maybe we can create some templates around this and make
There
it a
is
practice.
there is a template which I've shared with Prerna a few weeks back.
I see. Okay. Yeah. Now I can try to kind of automate the process, at least semi-automate the process. So to do that, no, it's a good idea. Yeah. But right. So moving on to Prerna Singh, if she's able to speak. Remember, you are on mute when you just joined. We've been doing a round of like our personal updates with respect to Planthro, as well as any comments and thoughts on the program overall in the mid, coming so far.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad Biblio, the platform that I have been contributing regularly to, has taken off very well, and it has been also received very well by people from the industry and academicians and students, and we have been getting some response in terms of voluntary contributions. Um, like Anja just suggested, that email which can be sent out to all the people whose work we usually cite on the platform. That's a great idea, and he shared the template. I'm yet to work on it, and then probably I'll send it across to everyone to review it. And besides that, I think Opinion is one platform that really needs our attention, because we have a lot of material from Biblio that can be sent to Opinions, and I think that will also expand our reach, and people will have an engagement platform, because Biblio is become more of a read-through platform than an engagement one. So Opinion might invite people to put forward their views, and that would be very relevant for our overall reach.
Yeah, I agree, Prerna. I think you're underlying one of the key pivoting points, and maybe this comes back to Vasavi's comment on new directions or where to put the stress now. I think now users of Planthro have a rather passive participation. So they come in, they read, they go. There is no,
Yeah.
we don't receive much feedback from them, maybe a bit more from the outreach. But I think I think we are in line with the, I don't think we are too far off the original roadmap we had, where opinions and analytics are the next upcoming steps. So both of them are products that are meant to bring people into a more active, into Planthro and Planthro's network in a more active way. So in opinions, by means of contributing their own ideas. And this, we should be aware, will require more editorial work, more attention on content. We need to, I mean, it's something that if we haven't done it, is because we know once we kickstart that one, we will need more workforce than we have now, just to make sure we don't publish anything that could be
Inappropriate
offensive
content.
or counterproductive. Exactly. And the other is analytics, and for this I have a small idea which we'd like to discuss with you, and is also related to what I mentioned earlier. So contacts with National Geographic, ongoing discussions. So one tool that would be very useful there would be a kind of a world map where we integrate data on threat. Threat that can be, so we need a few parameters, indexes, variables to integrate into this world map. I don't know how difficult, I don't think it would be extremely difficult to do, as long as we choose few consistent and available data set. But for example, what I had in mind was a Planthro map of a threat map, so a map of risk, right, where you have risk of sea level rise, for example. So this is very easy to extract from models, from global models. So which cities, how much of the population, of the global population. So you would get a map with colors where green is fine, red is horrible, high risk, depending on the parameters you choose. Right, so parameters that I wanted to integrate from the beginning is something like recurrence of earthquakes, sea level rise, GDP, So the lower the GDP, the redder, for example, and others that we can find from the SDGs. And this is something that we can start like Biblio, something that can grow organically. So we just need 3 parameters from very solid databases at the beginning to have the tool running. And then we can add as we have. So the idea is always like for Biblio to an outreach to have tools that can stand alone with very little initial investment, but they have the characteristic that they can grow as soon as there is workforce ready to put effort in. So that's the basic idea. I think one of the original ideas within planthro to prepare the ground, make it fertile, so that as soon as there is attention to the issue, as soon as we have workforce, we can make it grow. So that's
Right.
up for.
Were we looking to publish our own analytics material, like our own maps, basically, or to rebroadcast basically material that is already available online?
My idea was to have like a planthro risk map. So it would be another web page. We could call it analytics or just a risk map. And then when you open it, you just have a word map, very simple. And you have like options to click variables that you want to activate. And then if you click sea level rise, the map would be of a given color. If you cross sea level rise and GDP, you would have a different color again. So say New York and Bagarat in Bangladesh, they are both, or Venice, they are all exposed at the same level to sea level rise. But because of other variables like wealth, if you cross the two indexes, the 2 parameters, the color will vary. So if you only do sea level rise, the 3 of them, or the 2, say Bagarat and New York, will be all red. But if you cross with GDP, New York will probably be a bit less red than will be more on the yellow side because they have more wealth and capacity than Bagarat. So that's the idea for this very simple.
I think Massimo's question, if I'm not mistaken, was will we build these analytics ourselves or will we
Exactly.
partner?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
That's right.
So the answer is, I think, what answer I gather, as well as the original answer, is to do it ourselves. Yes, it's not a rebroadcast or republishing platform. Analytics is not meant to be that. Let's go into specific ideas, maybe offline, other than this chat. But when we go to the program, so I will send update you. Let's move a little quickly. And Prerna, any would you like to complete any description or before we move on to Iti? Prerna?
Oh,
Would you like to add something?
yeah. I wanted to bring forward the Twitter channel that I've been looking after for some time. So we have some 300 tweets and just 28 followers. So we might want to look into starting some kind of campaign to expand its reach.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. So actually, that's a good way to bring
Because it's
Iti
one
in.
of the
Iti.
platforms where people. Hmm.
Right, Iti,
Along
can you
with
tell
Prerna, can you
tell us about outreach as well as your personal involvement so far, as well as going forward, how you see?
Sure. So again, it's been a slow year compared to the last year in terms of activity and participation. Had some distractions and also limited capacity from the team in Sydney. And we did decide at the beginning of the year to focus on fewer things. And again, like it's not just limited to platforms, but prioritizing within platforms. So, for example, for outreach, we will probably not focus on Instagram this year. And we can talk about it a little bit more in detail. But just need to look at what we decided at the beginning of the year and assess what's doable for the remainder of the year. But one good thing is that we were still able to retain most of our volunteers, and in fact, we've gotten a few more. So, for example, LinkedIn is an active channel now, and Ashan is managing it. But maybe this is something again we can focus on the rest of the year, given that we've lost some of the capacity for the individuals who have been contributing in the past. But do you want me to go through the platforms individually now, or do you want to?
No, we'll go to the programs in a while. Yeah. So, but that's yeah. Maybe we can do that now. And I would like to again start with Biblio. Let's move a little faster. And Prerna, can you fill us on like specifically on Biblio and yeah, specifically on Biblio? We'll discuss Biblio. We will discuss outreach. We'll discuss opinions and wiki and analytics. These are the five, and I want to also take a minute or so to explain people's involvement, some new people, etc., which is so that's the rest of the agenda. Prerna, would you like to take up Biblio and tell us some updates specifically to it?
Yeah. So, sense the material that we have cited from various sources, and we also have, in terms of audience, vast geographic hits used to be you, but I'm glad to bring it to everyone's notice that it's been widely acknowledged. And we also had some people visiting from universities in Israel and Ireland. So that's something encouraging for us. Besides that, I'm trying to make one post a day. So, and also spread it across different categories, which includes, yeah, that's it
Right.
from my side.
The Okay, thanks. The audio wasn't entirely clear, but I think what Prerna is trying to say, I can is we had some days when we saw a very wide like a sort of a focus group engaging on Biblio. So one such incident, one such instance was from Israel. I think a university, different kind of computers, different browsing platform. I mean browsers. All of them looking at all together. So 2,000 views from Israel. From a university, and Ireland the same. So I think we are getting that sort of we are becoming that sort of a landing page of Anthropocene. We are already the biggest reference on it. Pretty encouraging, and Prerna's work has been extremely consistent. So and I think we have also have Akash, who happens to be my nephew, also agreeing to contribute on Biblio. So he will work along with Prerna in the coming days. Hopefully, add to the volume or you know uh, quality as well. Is that right, Prerna?
Yes, we have almost brought him in, so we are still in the initial stages of introducing him to the platform. So hopefully by end of this month, he should be in a position to contribute independently.
Right. Iti, would you like to tell us about outreach specifically? You can go through each platform.
Sure. So, Facebook has been a pretty consistent channel for us. We did a lot of ads last year, which we didn't this year. So that's something that we're working on now. Also trying to add some small videos. I spoke with the team last weekend, and I think we'll hopefully have something end of July. But just in general, we need to get better at consistency, which is another thing that I touched upon with them. So I think we'll have like more controls and mechanics in place, so there's additional accountability within the team. So that's something that we're working on now. I'll update you guys once we have a process there. Also with Facebook, I think once we are back on track with consistency, we'll probably try to experiment with pixels, which is something that we decided at the beginning of the year. So what that does is it's really cookies like for tracking user behavior. So if someone follows a Facebook ad and goes to our page, so our website or Biblio, we can track their behavior, and there are some good analytics that we could use. So that's something that we'll look at for the remainder of the year. And for newsletter, of course, like Amit, you are more involved than I am with that, but I believe we've released 9 volumes there to date.
Yeah.
But I don't have data on how many people we send it to so far, like how many subscribers we have.
It's something like 350.
Okay. All right. And then with Twitter, as Prerna mentioned before, I feel that this is also the most relevant channel these days, at least in the US it is. And we only have 28 followers. So maybe and thanks to Prerna, like the consistency has been really good, and we have quite a few tweets on the platform. But I think it's time that we invest a little bit in ad campaigns on Twitter, similar to what we did on Facebook last year. Maybe not as much because we got some grants from there, but I'm not aware of any Twitter programs, but I can definitely look into that. But even if we don't get any grants, we can probably invest a little bit this year just to get more followers on Twitter.
Right. Yeah, so I looked at grants from Twitter earlier. There weren't too many. What Twitter is doing as their corporate social responsibilities. They've already
Mm-hmm.
identified a few non-profits in San Francisco area and are supporting them. But it'll be worthwhile to see if this has changed and we can land upon something. But otherwise, we can create a budget for
Yes.
Twitter. I think I'm all for creating and I'll kind of motion, create something and send it across for your consent, everybody's consent here. If to begin with, it could be small, something test, and then we can have a phase 2 as well. So that will
Yeah.
not just help us mobilize the channel better, but also do justice to people who've been posting, like Prerna in this case.
Yeah. Great.
Akash, by the way, is also we're thinking like him to work one-on-one with Prerna. They're
Mm-hmm.
also in the same time zone, happen to be in the same city at the moment, even though Akash might move. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so we might see some. I mean, as Prerna wants, we might have some bandwidth there too. But yeah, let's create a budget for Twitter, and we have some, we can spare.
Okay. So, Prerna, maybe we can speak in the coming week or two, and we can set up a campaign. It's pretty straightforward. I've seen her do it, so we can probably get started. We can pick a few tweets that we want to promote and then just get going.
Right. One of the things.
Also,
Sorry.
Excuse me for the question. When you're actually talking about costs linked to promoting our website, do we mean actually sponsors? I mean, the cost that the link to publishing the advertisement online. What kind of costs are we talking about?
so it depends. So all of these social media channels, they have really good ad campaign management tools. So you can set up a budget and it could be as little as, I don't know, $5 to how much ever you want. And then
Mhm.
you can allocate it based, like you can assign a daily budget, and also they have some mechanisms where they propose something based on how many followers you want. So they have all these models, and you can tweak and adjust your parameters and run your campaign. So all we
And
need really is just to think through a strategy, or like have a target. Or actually, you know what? We can just start with the budget. So we can start small, and then keep tweaking the parameters and experiment a little bit. And that's how we did it for Facebook. So we had a budget in mind, split it in like three equal parts, and then we tried to use like three different models, like adjusted the parameters, tried to see which campaign was the most successful. So
Right.
I think we
So
can.
then you see Planthro advertised on on what kind of website, on another websites, any
Uh,
particular
no, it's just gonna happen on Twitter.
on Twitter?
But
Okay.
yes, so you know how you see those sponsored tweets like that show up uh, at the top of your phone screen when you go to
I don't
Twitter.
actually use, I don't use Twitter, unfortunately, so not very well.
But yeah, it's just going to be limited to that
Okay.
platform. But
Right.
you start showing up as soon as someone, the end user, is searching for a related platform, and all of that linking can happen through hashtags. So
Okay.
Prerna, I can work with Prerna on this, but we had good success with Facebook, and I think Twitter is definitely more relevant, and I think we'll get more number of subscribers with the same amount of money.
Right. So earlier in the year, we said, okay, let's not worry about YouTube and not worry about Instagram in this year.
Yeah.
So we've been and we've been staying with that, and I'm happy. Let's focus on Twitter. Let's create those campaigns. Masi, if you want, you can work closely with the or at least have a visibility of what Iti and Prerna are going to do with the budget that and ad campaign. Just to see how a premium version of social media from the promotion
Mhm.
point of view works, digital
Okay.
marketing. Right. Uh, Newsletter, we've already spoken, nine volumes for consistent
Yeah.
quality. The content is a little bit, to be honest, a little bit shallow. Is a reflection of in the ninth version, a little bit of a reflection of our low involvement, but I think that will change.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I will talk about wiki and opinions in the same breath. Is that they were stuck with
Sorry,
some.
Amit.
Yeah,
So
Andrea.
just before we move on to, I just wanted to spare another word on newsletter.
Right
Should I do it now or later?
now.
Okay. So do you think, depending on time schedules here from everyone, but do you think it would be useful to make sure we have a more consistent, more rich newsletter, to set up a quarterly meeting among us, keep it down to 20 minutes, uh, to just have a touchdown every 3 months and say what should go into the newsletter, and this could be an opportunity maybe to have a richer one and also to keep information flowing a bit more fluently between all of us.
If you know, we this one is like a 6 monthly meeting, and I would make it sort of well, let's say, for lack of a better word, more obligatory than a 3 month one. But I'm not opposed to the idea, and I'm available. But just keeping in mind everybody's role as well as personal involvement, I would just keep it to these 6 months. And of course, like in the past, we started a little bit earlier, like we were starting a month earlier. And in this case, we
Mm-hmm.
started only, let's say, 10 days before. We actioned maybe even 7 days before, right? So I think it's better that you, me, Prerna Singh, who just left the meeting somehow, Iti even, and Prerna Malhotra, who like before, start mobilizing 1 month before on emails and
Okay.
messages, and let's just keep it at that. Is my opinion.
Okay. Thank
Right. Okay, so I was saying that I will say talk about wiki and opinions. Prerna is missing it, but we are recording, so maybe she can and I can fill her in later. Is that they are done, but stuck with some minor amount of technical hurdle, which has to be resolved. And the good news is that Sumit Kumar, who's a friend of mine, has agreed to contribute to the tech side. The thing is, in the last year or so, we haven't lost anyone altogether. Nobody like kind of unsubscribed himself or left, even though people were less available sometimes. Many of them, but. So in terms of Akash, in terms of Sumit Kumar, we have extra capacity available. Ishan Aluwalia, who's
Yeah.
joined the LinkedIn. Uh, uh, who's taking a lead on LinkedIn. So coming back to Wiki and opinions, well, I can almost commit that by the end of the coming month, which is July, we'll have both of them up and running again. Again, in case of Wiki and opinions, because by now we have collected several references that can give a very good starting point to with Prerna's effort. She's been very good at cataloging opinions references as well, and she's been to be honest, it's a little bit of injustice to her that she's been reminding me of launching the or debugging the opinions board and launching it. So I can almost promise that by the end of this month, coming month, July, both of them will be up and running with at least let's say 10 posts on opinions just to kickstart it, and about 100 on Wiki again just to kickstart it. But with the view of the future, like without any with those technical hurdles removed. And this I'm basically able to commit because especially because Sumit Kumar has recently agreed. We might have to create some, like he's the way tech people have been involved with us is that they are able to highly subsidize their rates and everything. So but we still make some token payments or some payments to them. I will get in touch with you to create a small budget for this, kind of get them out of the woods, the two platforms, opinions and this one, Wiki. And then Sumit can help us out there in the coming weeks. I will be in close coordination with him, and he lives in Luxembourg, so we can. It will be easier for me. Apart from that, analytics. Iti, I just want to say that when Ishan works on LinkedIn, I think it's to some extent your task to see how he's progressing. In also in terms of, let's say, numbers, the numbers are
Yeah.
pretty encouraging on Facebook. When I create this juxtaposition that Vasavi and Andrea have suggested of before and after, you will see that the ramp up on
Yeah.
Facebook was pretty encouraging. We have 6,300 followers today. But similarly on LinkedIn, I think you should see to a little bit of you know uh, consistency, and a reminder won't hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a quick question, Et, did we pay? Can you remind me? Did we pay for the ads on Facebook?
No, so we found a few people who work at Facebook, and apparently they have this program where they can deploy $200 a month to the choice of their charity.
I see.
So it was basically, I think we had over $1,000 that we got in ad grants. So,
Right.
and I believe we did spend in the beginning, like when we first launched our marketing campaign, but it was probably to the order of like $30 or 50 probably. I'll have to check back, but it was minuscule.
Hmm.
So we ended up spending, like, taking the premium versions of their campaigns, but through grants. Yeah.
That's great because usually the Facebook ads, the CPC rates, etc., pretty steep
Yes,
for
pretty expensive. Yeah.
yeah, for nonprofits. And I mean, if you can make use of that, that's great. Okay, thanks.
Right. So that leaves us for only a very little time now, and analytics is what I want to talk about. See, I've been in touch with analytics is a platform where we want to create our original content, and this is by the way, I remember that this is the most exciting for Vasavi, for Madhura, and Andrea mentioned this map with the index and parameters, and there is a in financial world there is also a mention of climate value at risk these days, like how much of world's wealth or is at risk because of climate. And some of these things are kind of going to merge with Andrea's infographical kind of description of this index and so on. So that has been suggested, but even if I go back to the original or any, analytics is kind of, I mean, after events which we have shelved, analytics is the most expensive of the tools. And I've been in touch with some tech people who are excited about the idea, but are really worried of how how what kind of commercial value they'll eventually even extract from it, even if they invest their time. And I'm of the opinion that like Saurabh, right? My partner in IDRC. One, I have always been a little bit wary of kind of arm twisting him into helping me, because it's a bit of a conflict of interest. But at the same time, he's excited. He's also excited about this group, by the way. Uh, the way I'm structuring it is thinking in my mind. I haven't taken any decision, of course. There is no. There's just a proposal. Is that first that that I think what we need to do is a little bit of a more handover to these tech folks. And there are, I mentioned Sumit, I mentioned Saurabh now, and Amit Unkare hasn't left us, so he's there. And I'm also working with a very very smart guy called from Nepal, called Vikas Bhandari. So the structure I'm thinking is that we create analytics, we kind of Chinese wall analytics a little bit, in the sense that our eventual earning models, we commit 50% back to analytics itself. So eventually, whatever revenues that analytics, right now, there'll only be technical investment on part of these people, as well as myself, Massimiliano, Andrea, everybody who will pour in ideas and get involved to kind of make it look the way we want and so on. But one, we give a little bit of free hand to these people, technical lot, and also a little bit of ownership. We get people on board exec as well, at least one of them, uh, and commit that our eventual revenue model, which is it's like for corporate use and so on and so forth, at least 50% or something like 50% of revenues can be reserved for analytics itself. And from there, they can probably eventually, and this is like 2 year cycle, draw their compensation and so on. So at least I'm thinking that's a kind of structure. I'm going to put my more thoughts. This is all, like you wake up one morning, you get one idea, and next day, another piece gets attached to it. So it's all very unfinished in my mind. I'm going to propose something to you guys before I move forward. But I'm thinking that maybe analytics will have to be kind of you know. Chinese walled, or how should I say, like ring fence or single out. It can become like a contributor to the entire program, like value terms. But how these guys who will put work right now, can be the leaders of it, or can carry it, can be the owners of it, also can benefit from it. Just some structuring. If there are any immediate thoughts, fine. Otherwise, like I said, I will try to propose a structure to you guys.
Yeah, just go
Andrea?
on, Prasad.
No, just a comment that, when we look back 3 years ago, analytics has always been our revenue generation module, if you will, within planthro. And I think, to your point, you said financial companies are looking at risk through climate change. I would add that not just financial companies, but even the consumer companies such as Unilever and Nestle and Procter and Gamble, a lot of these that have exposure to agriculture and commodities, are very much incorporating climate change models and looking at companies that are able to provide them risk assessments for their next two generations, not two seasons crops. How will that look? What are the various mitigatory risks they need to look at? So I think the analytics is going to be a very interesting aspect of planthro if we can pull it right, and also I think it will be one of the revenue generational part of it.
Right, Andrea?
Yeah, just share the link there. This is another company I discovered through Karin, who's also contributing to planthro by proxy. But AECOM, AECOM. I mean, thinking of questioning from tech people, how can we make this profitable? So just have a quick look at this webpage, browse it through. We can have access to some senior within that company.
Right.
I have the idea that we could be the non-for-profit version of this.
Right.
This has been labeled as one of the best companies for the past few years in the UK. They do great work. A lot of it is analyzing data, mapping them on transforming towards a sustainable future. I think we need to have a few examples like that that can maybe help us move in the right direction and provide answers to people who have.
Right. No, I will certainly incorporate this when I propose, let's say, a structure in a coming few days. Yeah. Right. That's it. It's about time. We had originally thought and a little bit more. So, and that's it from my side. Is spoken enough already. Prerna is not here. Massimiliano, anything else for today from your side?
No, really.
Okay. Iti, anything from your side?
I just have one request. So
Yep.
all the outreach channels that we have active, if you guys are on those channels, can you just follow and just follow the planthro pages and also like try to like them, like the posts, etc. Because I think we need some sort of like a feedback loop. So at least the folks that are on the team, like we need a little bit of an organic growth as well.
Absolutely. And by now we have Facebook, uh, uh, Twitter, and LinkedIn as well. So keep LinkedIn in mind.
Yes. Yeah.
Sorry, Ethi, just on that, do you think it's worth it to, I don't know, like on LinkedIn, have some leading figure, like an influencer, for the lack of better word, have them follow us or some such
Yes.
on
So
Facebook?
that's gonna primarily help with LinkedIn and Twitter, and that is one of the things on the agenda. We start to look for the influencer,
I see.
convince them.
Right. Vasavi, closing comments or anything?
No, that's
Yeah.
it.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, Madhura, you're on mute.
So thanks, Amit. Thanks for the comprehensive update. Yeah, and I'm excited to be more involved in the upcoming months.
Thanks. Andrea, closure and bye byes after that.
Yeah, thank you all. I don't know. Do we need any actions to be taken in terms of administrative paperwork and others before we close? No.
Yeah. So
At this stage.
administrative. Yeah. So I can update. We are we are in green. There is no change required. We might have to change the treasurer if Naresh becomes less and less available. His company is keeping him very busy, and so ET has agreed that if required, we will change the treasurer post from Naresh to ET, and just in case required, the address of the company. But everything is green as of now. We have done the essential filings. The under 25,000 in US dollars in yearly revenues is really simple, to be honest, and as a result,
That's one of the advantages of having so
no,
little, right?
no. I've realized it in a like
That's
after.
why we stay there.
No. It's a wrong way to go about things. But anyway, that's how it is. We are in green, and there are and that's it.
Okay, just to close then, I think I mean, in spite of having little time to participate, I think the adventure is as exciting as it was at the beginning, even more. I mean, I hardly have thought that so many good people would get involved, and we would have, people looking at what we're doing. I'm more and more proud of showing it out. So, as I told you, I mean, I have no problem. I would have had some problems 2-3 years ago in sending the link to planthro to any major institutions, but I don't have any more. I mean, and as I told you, I sent it to UCL, I sent it to major museums, to National Geographic, and I will keep doing that.
Excellent. Okay, so that's it. Thank you, guys. Thank you for participating. We'll do the follow-ups, as we decided. I'm not rounding them up but we have the recording, and I'll share that too. Everything will be followed up upon, and yeah. So thank you and bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good
Bye,
day.
guys.
Stay
Bye,
safe.
everyone.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.
Bye bye.